Well, as we pointed out before, the DOJ knew that Hunter Biden's laptop was real. It wasn't from Russia because the FBI had seized it back in 2019. But they wanted to hide the contents of the laptop. It would be the evidence of corruption in the Biden family, selling access to the U.S. government, because there was an election taking place weeks later. And there really was corruption, actual corruption. And we thought this needed a long-form explanation. So we just made a documentary on it. It's called Biden, Inc. It's out today on Fox Nation. Here is a preview of it. Tony Bobulinski made a fortune as a private investor.
He's going against Tony Bobulinski now.
Before his business career, he served as an engineer on a nuclear submarine. He also wrestled at Penn State.
I've done business all over the world, and after I got out of the military, I spent my life investing in businesses.
The Bidens recruited Bobulinski precisely because he was a successful businessman. In December 2015, Bobulinski received a WhatsApp message from a friend saying that he needed help building a Chinese joint venture involving, quote, one of the most prominent families in the United States. The goal was, quote, to build an investment firm like Goldman Sachs. Bobulinski suddenly found himself at the center of one of the Biden family's biggest schemes.
How can the Bidens afford to live the way they do, based on your experience as a former business partner?
I had extensive interaction with Hunter and Jim Biden around the world, and just my interaction and knowledge of that, I'm sure they've been doing similar things, over the prior decades, and maybe that's how they've subsidized Joe's living and stuff like that.
The project began in 2015. At the time, Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States.
Put yourself in the position of the Chinese, if you're in Chinese intelligence or the Chinese Communist Party, and you wanted to infiltrate the United States government. Who are you going to reach out to? Were you going to reach out to one of Obama's daughters? I don't think so. You could do your own research, and I'm sure they did it, and Hunter was low-hanging fruit, and they targeted him from multiple directions, and that all culminated in the fourth quarter of 2015, while Joe was still the sitting vice president of the United States.
The first partner to approach Bobulinski was a British national called James Gillier.
James Gillier, a successful businessman in his own right. I developed a very, very close and trusting relationship with him. He basically communicated in shorthand. You notice he won't use the word Hunter. He'll use the word H. He won't call, I think he calls Joe in a couple of text messages, but he won't call it the Biden family. He'll call it the B's and stuff like that.
The three other partners came from Joe Biden's inner circle. Rob Walker, a longtime political operative close to the Biden family, Joe Biden's brother, Jim, and Joe Biden's son, Hunter.
But the dominant thing that they were bringing to the table, and Hunter says it crystal clear in his own words, was the Biden family and the history of Joe's political career.
Bobulinski and his partners formed a company called Oneida Holdings. They communicated mostly over text, WhatsApp, and email.
Oneida Holdings was a Delaware LLC that I set up and our lawyer set up, and that was to formalize the agreement that we had between the partners.
Through Oneida, Bobulinski and his partners would own 50% of a company called Sinohawk Holdings, which Bobulinski also created. The other 50% would be owned by a Chinese official, Chairman Yi.
At that point, he was a Forbes 40 under 40. People believed he was worth tens of billions of dollars, getting awards all over the world.
Yi was a Chinese billionaire who ran CEFC. That would be the capitalist side of China's One Belt, One Road global infrastructure investment project. Chairman Yi's top aide, called Director Zhang, is a CCP official with close ties to Chinese President Xi Jinping.
There's zero chance that CFC, one of, I think, the 5 largest private companies in China at the time, would have had any interest in doing business with Jim Biden or Hunter Biden unless Joe was the sitting vice president of the United States.
Sinohawk was their big break. Unlike other business ventures like Burisma, the Bidens had an ownership stake in this project, and they expected to get enormously rich.
CFC was talking about deploying billions of dollars, and Hunter and Jim Biden and the Biden family expected to make hundreds of millions of dollars from this, if not billions of dollars.
Bobulinski's first encounter with Hunter Biden came in Los Angeles in June of 2017.
The first time I actually sat down with Hunter was here on the patio of the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, and we spent about 2 hours basically just catching up on the business, talking about how he interacted with his father and what his family thought about this.
Hunter made it very clear that his father, Joe Biden, was playing a role.
He was very laid back in that meeting, very likable, very engaging, but he sort of was surprised, I guess, at my questions because he just sort of responded with, yeah, my dad's lawyers and his advisors around me, don't like the stuff that I'm doing, but I just go directly to my father. If I got questions, he'll take my call anytime and make himself available for what I need and the things that I'm doing.
Hunter Biden proved his point a few days later when his father came to L.A. to give a speech.
I'm middle-class Joe.
Here I'm exchanging messages with Hunter. May 2nd, 2017, I'm coordinating with Hunter on the meeting with Joe. Hunter sends me a message. Dad not in until 11. Let's meet, and Jim meet at 10 at the Beverly Hilton where he's staying. Okay, 10 tonight. We'll see you at the Beverly Hilton. Let me know if anything changes. Then later that night, I let him know I'm on my way. I'm here. Are you guys in the bar?
The meeting lasted 45 minutes.
So I literally haven't been back here since I actually met with the Bidens, and Joe walked across through the lobby with his security detail. Hunter, Jim, and I were already sitting here sort of positioned behind this column. They've redone some of the bar.
After the meeting at the Hilton, Bob Alinsky and Jim Biden crossed the street to meet at the Peninsula Hotel.
I basically spent 2 hours with Jim, and I was very concerned about how they were doing this. And after I walked through my concerns, I just distinctly remember, Jim looking at me and getting a smirk on his face and, like a slight chuckle and just saying, plausible deniability. Those two words clearly define how the Bidens operate, how they do business.
A few weeks later, on May 13th, 2017, Gillier sent an email explaining each partner's share of the new company. Quote, the equity will be distributed as follows: 20 for H, meaning Hunter, 20 for RW, meaning Rob Walker, 20 for JG, meaning James Gillier, 20 for TB, Bob Alinsky, 10 for JB, Jim Biden, and 10 held by H for the big guy.
Who could the big guy be? If it isn't Joe Biden, I would love to debate that with anybody.
Another email sent the same day was called Expectations. In it, Gillier laid out salaries for all the partners. Hunter and Bob Alinsky were both set to make $850,000. 3 days later, an infuriated Hunter wrote this: I will need a hell of a lot more than $850 per year on a month basis. And this is my own personal problem, but I'll make it yours also, I'm sure. Ha. Bob Alinsky responded, H, we have to pay a team of people who'll be working 100 hours a week. To which Hunter responded, Tony, they are both coming to be my partner, to be partners with the Bidens. He has implied that the number one has made that clear and available to him. According to Bob Alinsky, number one is a clear reference to Chinese President Xi Jinping. Hunter continues, come on, man, we both want the same thing. Just happens that in this instance, only one player holds the trump card, and that's me. May not be fair, but that's the reality because I'm the only one putting my entire family legacy on the line. In a private side conversation, James Gillier tells Bob Alinsky, Tony, I ain't that stupid. Know why Yi wants the deal and what makes it enormous. It's the family name in reality. They could have asked for 51%. Bob Alinsky, acting as the CEO, decided he should get 3 votes on the company board so the Bidens couldn't overrule the other business partners. That infuriated Hunter Biden, who lashed out over text. Hey, Tony, I have an idea. In light of the fact that we are at an impasse of sorts, and both James's lawyers and my chairman gave an emphatic no.
When he said my chairman in that text, he was referring to his father.
As the process went on, the business partners became more paranoid. Gillier sent Bob Alinsky another WhatsApp message. Quote, don't mention Joe being involved. It is only when you are face to face. I know you know that, but they are paranoid. Bob Alinsky replies, okay, they should be paranoid about things.
Joe was used as sort of the brass ring, once again, the Biden franchise, the implied understanding that, he was aware of what Hunter and Jim were doing.
Ultimately, Sinohawk failed. The Chinese never delivered the operating capital. Amid a Chinese corruption probe, Director Yi disappeared. He's never been seen again. CEFC was dismantled, and yet somehow the Biden family still made millions.
I later learned that Hunter Biden and Jim Biden had defrauded me, and they had actually altered documents. They had actually taken a copy of Sinohawk Holdings documents, used the exact same document, removed Oneida Holdings from that document, and put Owasco, Hunter Biden's law firm, in place to be the 50% owner of Sino-Off.
The Bidens allegedly cheated their business partners and took the money themselves. So far, the justice system has ignored Tony Bobulinski's claims and evidence.
My understanding, looking at bank account records and what's been made public, is Hunter Biden received over $5 million across a period of time.
It's actually not a very complicated story. These people are not geniuses. But it did need 20 or 25 minutes just to lay it out. And once you see it, it's extremely clear. It's indisputable what happened. It's called Biden Inc. Part 1 is out right now on Fox Nation. Part 2 comes out tomorrow.